私はパンダ。
Pokemon Yellow has always had a soft place in my heart. It's the only mainline game they released that was directly inspired by the anime, and while sure, they still kept the original plot of the game and only adding a few additions like Team Rocket and stuff, I still think it's a dope concept that could have been expanded upon in later entries. And while some things were carried over in later entries, such as your first Pokemon in your party following you, and just adding more interactions with your Pokemon in general, as a kid who grew up with the anime and then played the games, I would have loved to see other games done something similar with their respective seasons and somehow expanded on it, but I can also see how that can be difficult to do and maybe not something they would even want to do, considering the anime series became less popular over the years. At the very least, it could have been cool if they released an updated version of Yellow like they did with Fire Red and Leaf Green. Alright, you don't count. You were nearly 15 years too late. And yes, I know it was for the 20th anniversary for Pokemon Yellow, but still, come on now. I'm not the only one that thought this, thankfully, because there are fan-made versions of Fire Red and Leaf Green that depict what a remake of Pokemon Yellow would have been like. And now, without further ado, introducing Pokemon Ash Gray. Huh? What's that? What do you mean we can't get Pokemon Ash Gray? What do you mean we have Pokemon Ash Gray at home? Huh. I mean, yeah, okay, I can work with that, yeah. Today, we'll be attempting to beat Pokemon Volt Yellow with Ash's team from the Indigo League series. For those that haven't seen this ROM hack floating around before, this is just a depiction of what a remake of Yellow version would have been like in 04. While Ash Gray follows more closely to the events of the anime, this ROM hack is more closer to the original Yellow version in terms of story and progression. Now, I already know what you're thinking, well, why aren't you just playing Pokemon Ash Gray then? And to that I say,
I am a flaming Moltres!
That outfit, where'd he get it?
I think that costume came right out of his closet.
if you've never seen an Ash percent run before, well, basically the main rule is we must follow the journey of Ash in the anime. Obviously, there are some events that we either can't do, have to backtrack for, or may need to address when the time comes, and for the most part, I'll be addressing each key event when we get to those parts. But the main thing is we must use the same Pokemon Ash used throughout his journey. Meaning, every key fight that appears in the anime, like mainly the gym battles, we must use the exact team Ash used for those fights. Just as an example, against Brock, Ash used his Pidgeotto and Pikachu, so we must bring those two Pokemon to the fight. Even though he had Butterfree at this point, so why didn't he just use Butterfree? I mean, it just would have been a much easier fight, but you know, just use the fucking bird and the electric type Pokemon. Ideally, we want to match the battles that happen in the anime, but at some points the game and anime will have some differences, and I'll address those as we go along. Finally, there's a few more rules I wanted to add just to make things a bit more difficult, because I clearly don't value my own sanity. Anyways, no items in battle, and if a Pokemon faints in battle, they're not considered dead, but I do have to restart the battle. And with that out the way, let's just get started. After getting a late start to my day, first thing I try to do is what any sensible person who slept in would try to do, touch some grass. But then this old guy stops me, telling me something about, the dangers of touching grass. But before I had the chance to say anything, we got jumped by some oddly colored mouse-looking thing. I don't know. He catches it and takes us back to his lab where we meet up with our old pal Gary. Now, since we were, a bit preoccupied with, other more important things, we missed out on all the Pokemon Professor Oak had left out for all the new trainers. There's only one Pokeball left, and all I have to do is grab it, and I can start my Pokemon, and Gary just took the last Pokemon. Don't worry though, as there's still one last Pokemon that Professor Oak has that we can still use.
Pikachu.
Its name is Pikachu.
Fast forward a bit after receiving our first Pokemon where we encounter our first couple of team members. Caterpie, who we catch without doing a single point of damage to, cause, well, Ash was just like that, I guess, and Pidgeotto, which I didn't know was a static encounter at first near the bottom left-hand side of the map, so for a good 10 to 15 minutes, I was just kind of running around assuming it was the same 1% encounter rate similarly to the original yellow version.
Please tell me. Oh! Oh! Oh, wait. Wait. Is that what I think it is? Oh my god. That's the Pidgeotto. I see now. I see. So it's not a random encounter, it's just there in the forest. Huh.
Afterwards, we spent some time in Viridian Forest for a little bit, dealing with all sorts of trainers, including one particular samurai where, after the ensuing battle, our Caterpie, who became a Metapod, evolved into a Butterfree. Now I hope you enjoyed that, cause if you know anything about the anime, you'll know that we won't be seeing this screen until much later on. Now that we're finished up in Viridian Forest, it's time to take on the Pewter City gym leader, Brock, and his team of Rock-type Pokemon. Speaking of Rock-type Pokemon, now that I have my newly evolved Butterfree, naturally the only sensible thing to do before we take on this Rock-type gym is to take our only team member who does any sort of effective damage to his Pokemon and throw them in the PC, so I can use my other two members who struggle against rock and ground types against the gym leader Brock, who, did I mention, specifies in rock and ground type Pokemon. You know, people always say how Ash was never really a good trainer, to put it lightly, but in all honesty, this man was already doing challenge runs before people even considered doing any sort of Nuzlocke or speedrun. I think Ash was just trying to prove how simply built different he was to every other trainer, cause like, no way he does this kind of stuff without actual intention of proving how much of a better trainer he is than everyone else, right?
Don't you know flying Pokemon are weak against rock types?
Oh, guess I forgot.
Anywho, this gym was quite the struggle. A common trend you'll see is that since this is a hack of Fire Red, movesets and levels compared to the original Yellow version will differ. Like in this instance, in Pokemon Yellow, Brock's team consists of a level 10 Geodude that only knows Tackle, and a level 12 Onix that only knows normal type moves. On top of that, if you've ever played through the original Red and Blue, you'll know one of the most infamous moves in the whole game, Bind, is now nerfed and is nowhere near as broken as it once was. In Fire Red, however, his team has a 2-level increase and has a differing moveset. Geodude, while only knowing one other move in this game, being Defense Curl, still becomes that much more tedious to deal with. And to fix the previous era of only giving normal type moves to a rock and ground type Pokemon, they gave him Rock Tomb. While moves like Defense Curl wouldn't be that much of a hindrance in a normal playthrough where we would have had a Pokemon who could handle his rock and ground types, in this case we have a flying type and an electric mouse. This would all seem to be expected, no? This is Fire Red and Leaf Green, not Red and Blue. However, while reading up on the features of this ROM hack, I did note that one of the changes is that the gym battles would be closer to the original Yellow version. So at the time, before I even started this challenge, most of my strategies were built on the assumption that even the movesets and level cap would be more closer to Yellow version than Fire Red or Leaf Green. And yeah, even though this is hindsight now, I still think this is pretty dumb on my part. Going a bit off script here, I think while reading the features, I just kind of took it at face value at the time and thought, yeah, let me just research Yellow version's gyms instead of Fire Red and Leaf Greens and base my strategies purely off of that. Trust me, I know, it's really dumb now. Get used to that, cause it doesn't get any better. Trust me when I say I'm gonna make more mistakes like that in the future, just a heads up. Even then though, it wouldn't be worth it, cause the main roadblock comes in the form of Brock's Onix, who knows Rock Tomb, which even though it has a pitiful 80% accuracy, it's still a massive problem due to the one simple fact that he'll just knock out both Pokemon faster than we can realistically do all the setup, and then do any sort of significant damage to him. This would all seem near impossible if we were playing a game based off of pure skill. But just like the episode that this fight similarly resembles, we can be just like Ash and bullet our way through the fight with the help of our good old pal Pikachu. But instead of using sprinklers, we utilize our electricity to luckily paralyze our foes, so we can then continue to rely on that luck to set up sand attacks, so we can effectively make it so that it's near impossible for this Geodude to land a single well, I'm sure that there is no possible way for that to ever happen again, right? So, as I was saying, due to the fact that this rock, which has eyes and a pair of arms, is not only paralyzed but blind as well, he is unable to attack us and we are able to take him down with ease. And after utilizing the power of friendship once again, and paralyzing the rock snake to repeat the process over again, we claim victory and our first gym badge. With Brock humiliatingly defeated, we continue our journey through Mount Moon, where we not only run into an unknown extraterrestrial life form, but we have an encounter with none other than Team Rocket, who, besides paralyzing the whole squad at the start of the battle, didn't really do anything else to note, which kinda goes for all of Mount Moon, so I'm just gonna skip to when we fight Misty. Cause, oh boy, if you thought Brock was bad, comparably, I think I'd rather take my chances with the Samurai again.
Maximum hardness, Metapod!
Before we can even start this battle, we have to drop off our Pikachu because, well, he didn't want to fight against Misty, and as his trainer, there's really nothing more I can do or say. My hands are just kinda tied here, so I guess we're going up against this water-type gym without our electric mouse. So instead, we're stuck with the butterfly that we probably should have used in the previous fight, but now we're using him here, and the bird. Again. Now, one particular thing that differs from not just the original yellow version, but most of Misty's appearances in the mainline games, is that instead of having Staryu as her first Pokemon, Misty starts with her signature Psyduck, which I don't really know how she has it, considering she didn't catch Psyduck for at least another 20 episodes or so, but oh well. Admittedly, Psyduck does have worse stats compared to Staryu, but I swear, for some reason, the Psyduck is just a complete menace, constantly getting lucky crits with Water Pulse and constantly confusing my Pokemon, all while having that same deceivingly adorable face that they have. And you think that already gives enough room for questions? Again, the real hurdle comes in the form of Misty's ace, Starmie. If you've done any sort of challenge or speedrun of these games before, you know how Misty Starmie can be a real run killer. Best way to describe this Starmie is that it's just a complete and utter tank. Not only is it pretty bulky, considering we don't really have the Pokemon that can take it down relatively quickly, but on top of its beefy 100 special attack stat, it also has the firepower to back it up. Top that off with moves that benefit off of that stat, and you got yourself one hell of an early game raid boss. See, my plan for this battle was simple enough. Start with Butterfree so I can put her Psyduck to sleep so that I can safely take her out with confusion. Then, when she switches to her Starmie, I would put it to sleep as well, and then pivot to Pidgeotto to then sand attack it enough, because realistically, we don't have the firepower to take out her Starmie before she wakes up again. Now, remember how when I was talking about Psyduck, I brought up how it was constantly confusing my Pokemon? Well...
Are you serious right now?
The amount of times this Starmie has confused or one-shotted one of my Pokemon with a crit is more times than Brock getting rejected. Okay, that might be a bit of a stretch, but you get the point. Even with all the sand attacks I would throw at it, all the sleep powders, even the occasional confusion, this Starmie did not care. They just did not miss. At this point, we might as well still be in Gen 1 with how we're constantly stuck in a bind. Once again though, this is Pokemon, and thankfully, just like Ash, we can get another gym leader to put some pity on us. This attempt, I opted into using Poison Powder, cause honestly, I was up to trying anything. I was really grasping for straws at this point. And after Misty felt, I got lucky. With my Pokemon battling skills, yeah, let's go with that one. Due to the poison effects, I think it missed back-to-back water pulses and opted to its other stab move, Swift. I think that was also due to the poison effects. Anyways, we were finally able to take down Misty Starmie. You know, you could say that the game felt bad for me or I got lucky, but at the very least, I can say now I'm playing the role as Ash to a T, right? Right? Ash is not only one of the worst Pokemon trainers ever, but he's also one of the worst Pokemon ever. What a freaking moron. That's not how you catch a Pokemon. Clearly he's going to the wrong gyms. Like, look at this dude. That's not how you throw motherfucking hands, bro. What the... Silly Ash, that's not how you call your Pokemon back into its Pokeball. You freaking moron. Ash is a dumb, smelly, stupid poo-poo head, and I hate him. I'm just a better trainer, what can I say? Wait. I didn't say that. You got the... That doesn't even sound like me, like... Yo, hey, look, we got the Cascade badge! Woohoo! Yeah! Let's go! Okay, I need to redeem myself after my, unfortunate run-in with Lady Karma herself, so let's get into the rival fight. Luckily, compared to most of the gym battles at least, these are much easier since we have a complete range to go about these battles however we want. By the by, this statement becomes completely irrelevant later on, but we won't have to worry about that until the end game, so for now, let's just enjoy this small bit of fortune that we have. Just a quick note though, the reason I'm not really covering these fights as much, like the Team Rocket fights and the rival fights, is mainly cause nothing of real interest really happens during these fights. For the rival fight, I'm just choosing the Pokemon that does the most damage, and for Team Rocket, well... Looks like Team Rocket's busting off again! They're trying their best, okay? I give them an A for effort. Prior to all this though, we find ourselves in a, hidden village where we find this lady and her Pokemon that she takes care of, including a protective yet loyal Bulbasaur. After proving to the random girl that we are a quote-unquote loving trainer, she decides that we are a perfect fit for the now recovered Bulbasaur and we add him to our team. I can't wait to see how this little guy progresses throughout our journey. Maybe he has 1, maybe 2 evolution forms. Oh boy, I can't wait to see how strong he gets and...
Not this time. No, it never happened.
That's not all though. After we, got lost, I guess, we find ourselves an injured Charmander that we learned was waiting for his trainer to return. After finding out his trainer's kind of a piece of we simply murder him with the help of his own Charmander. And after he realizes that we're clearly the winning team, he joins us on our journey. Squirtle's the next and final starter Pokemon Ash receives, but we can't get him just yet. Not until we beat Surge at least, so just imagine that Squirtle is on our team for now as our imaginary 6th member. Fun fact, I actually completely forgot about receiving Squirtle after Surge, so I didn't even write up anything for Squirtle's introduction as a team member in the script. Don't worry, I did write an introduction for Squirtle after we beat Surge. It's just funny. I even wrote a note about it in my notes. I guess at some point during the script writing process, I just skimmed over it. I just don't know. I don't have an explanation. I don't know how I forgot. I honestly don't remember. That's the best explanation I can give. I don't know. And that should do it for all the members that Ash has currently obtained at this point in the story. And yup, that should be all of the team members that we have currently yes, to address this elephant, or I guess in this case crustacean in the room, there's one more Pokemon that Ash catches before he faces off with Surge.
Krabby lives near the shore. Its average height is about 16 inches.
However, if you've played the Gen 1 remakes before, you may remember that Krabby can't really be caught at this point in the game, so let's just keep this next part our little secret, okay? Okay? Good. So, after we legitimately catch our last team member, are we good? Yeah? It's the last one? Okay, good. We find this adorable little Clefairy who turns out to be some guy named Bill, I guess, I don't know, who, after we help turn himself back to normal, gives us his ticket to board the SS Anne. As a Canuck myself, a free cruise is like a dream come true. I can't see how this could go wrong at all.
5 people are missing. May these flowers honor your memory.
Huh. Anywho, it's time for the showdown with Lieutenant Surge. And as soon as we enter the gym, we already run into a bad omen. See, a cool little thing the creator added to this ROM hack is that at certain points throughout your adventure, you'll spawn Misty and Brock, and it adds a little extra immersion that was absent from the original yellow version. It's not much, they're not part of your party or anything, only adding a couple extra lines of text, but it's still a neat little add-on that I'll probably bring up every now and then if they have something I found particularly funny or interesting. But in this case, there's a tiny bug that happens specifically in this gym. See, every time you, say, open a menu or get out of a battle with any one of the trainers, your character will simply stop moving and you'll find that your soul has now transferred into Misty. When this glitch happens, your camera is still fixed on where the player would be, so navigating can be a bit troublesome, but luckily the glitch seems to only happen inside of the gym. Once you find your way out of the gym, the glitch seems to fix itself somewhat. I say somewhat because the next time you start a battle or open your menu in the gym, the glitch happens again. This isn't too much of a problem, however I did accidentally soft lock my game and trap myself in the gym. Anywho, time to actually talk about the gym fight. Now, in both the show and the original yellow version, Lieutenant Surge and Ash have a one-on-one battle between their respective electric rats. Notice how I said one-on-one. Anyways, let's do a rundown of his team, although we know for the most part what he'll be using. It's just gonna be a little difficult having to deal with a Raichu when we only can use Pikachu, but I'm sure with enough brain power and trial and error, we can figure out how to... Wait, hold on a minute.
That's not a
Raichu!
That's not a
Raichu!
Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, as you can see, Lieutenant Surge is clearly cheating. I did multiple attempts with just Pikachu, however, even on the attempts that I was able to deal with his Voltorb, his Raichu was just a whole nother beast. Sadly, in this instance, we don't have anime powers on our side, as Pikachu is not nearly strong enough even at level cap to deal with Voltorb fast enough before he does any sort of damage, and his Raichu, having overall better stats, means that even if we get a run where Voltorb uses only Screech and does no damage to Pikachu, we simply don't have the damage even with Mega Punch or Mega Kick to deal with Raichu before he can get off one attack and one-shot Pikachu. And to top it all off, when you think it can't get any worse, he then has the audacity to not only use a potion when he gets low on health, but he also has a full heal. So even if I paralyze his Raichu, he just ends up recovering from it anyways. Even in instances where Voltorb only uses electric type moves on Pikachu, Raichu with Mega Kick can simply two-shot Pikachu. Just going up against his Raichu would be challenging enough, but having to basically 1v2 with Pikachu is asking for a bit too much for me personally. Plus, since it's a 1v2, it wouldn't be so accurate, right? So just like how I deal with most of my problems, like my crippling debt, we could just simply pretend this battle with Voltorb doesn't exist. So please ignore the second Pokemon that I totally don't have, that I totally didn't use to not beat the Voltorb that we are pretending doesn't exist. Okay? Okay. Also, I didn't use the other Pokemon that I don't have to make him use his full heal so I could even have a chance to paralyze him, and it won't be for nothing. Anyways, it took many attempts, but after getting lucky with him being paralyzed and a couple of his Mega Kicks missing, we were able to come out as victors in the Electric Showdown and earn our 3rd gym badge. Something to note as we go into the next part of our adventure is that you may have noticed that I've been following the sequence of events from the show, meaning I've been following the pace at which the show's episodes have been following. You may also recall that at this point in the anime, Ash and friends go on the SSN, or as is titled in the show, the Saint Anne, after the match with Lieutenant Surge. However, we do not have that luxury since we had to retrieve the cut HM from the SSN in order to even enter the gym. I just thought I should note that, as this isn't the first time and won't be the last time an event or moment like this may appear out of order, like in the case with catching Krabby. Or say for a particular blue turtle who, after we received the Thunder Badge, is now able to officially join the squad. After kidnapping the gang and nearly killing Pikachu, we decide that we must do what needs to be done, which is obviously recruit the leader of the Squirtle Squad who, did I mention, attempted to murder our Pikachu? He accepts and we have him join our team, finally completing our roster. Now sadly, with that out the way, it's time to say bye-bye to Butterfree as we send him off with a salute to a fallen soldier who has succumbed to the treacherous disease known as love, as he flies off with his newly found maiden into the sunset. Though our travels must continue, we shall never forget any of our allies that we may lose on our journey. And with that, Butterfree is the first member of a soon-to-be long list of allies who diverge off onto their own path. If you plan on watching the anime at any point, I would get used to this, as this list does become quite long. Butterfree, you will be dearly missed, as you were a major part as to why we overcame such drastically huge hurdles such as the early game slog that is Mount Moon and she who shall not be named. Before we can move on though, there's a gap now left in our team with Butterfree's departure. I guess we can use the Krabby that we caught earlier. Yeah, sorry Krabby, you're gonna have to wait a bit longer till Ash puts you on the main roster. Anyways, we'll have to backtrack a bit here, since we can't really catch a Primeape in the wild like Ash does here until the very late game. We'll have to evolve a Mankey that I caught earlier but was saving till after the battle with Surge. After taking some time to grind out some levels, catch up some of our teammates to the rest of our squad, we can finally move on and... Huh. That was odd. Anyways, the next gym battle that we have is Erica.
Yo! It's the motherfucking crew! Yo, they back! Classic Brock. That's just classic Brock again. Back at it again.
Thankfully, this time we don't have to struggle as badly since Ash decides to study up on his matchups and brings Charmander along for this fight. Another interesting thing with this ROM hack is that movesets have been changed, along with the sprites being updated to their Gen 4 variants. Whether these updated movesets will do us more harm than good will be determined in the future when we get to the later gym battles and Elite 4 members. For now though, this means that Pokemon like Charmander can learn moves like Flame Burst on level up, which will be major help to us in not only the upcoming fight with Erica, but for the rest of the mid-game as well. There's really not much else to this fight. Charmander can easily solo this fight, and while it may seem unfair that I let Charmander solo this whole gym, trust me when I say this challenge does not get any easier, so I like to take whatever freebies I can really get. Anyways, with the help of Charmander, we're able to get our 4th gym badge, meaning we've kinda reached somewhat of the halfway point at least when talking about the rest of the gyms we need to defeat. I'd like to take a moment now to thank you if you've made it this far in the video. This is my first time working on a project like this, and I know it must be a bit rough around the edges, just to say the least, but if you've been enjoying it so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, maybe of your favorite moment or episode from the original Pokemon Indigo League series. Personally, as a kid, one of my favorite episodes was Showdown at Dark City. It's hands down one of the funniest episodes of Pokemon, with the introduction of Ash's alter ego / twin brother Tom Ado and Pikachu's infamous ketchup addiction. On top of the voice for Electabuzz and its trainer / gym leader being just pure comedy gold whenever they say a single line.
Oh, Electabuzz! Thunderbolt now!
This episode holds a special place in my heart. It's one of those episodes for me I can always go back to and watch and still get a laugh out of it to this day. Now with that little intermission out the way, let's move on with the rest of our journey. Oh, hey look, it's Team Rocket again. Up next, we have a Giovanni fight. Since the main cast and Giovanni rarely ever interacted with each other, these didn't appear in the anime. And since they didn't appear in the anime, there aren't really any restrictions on this fight in terms of what Pokemon we can use. So this first encounter with him wasn't much of an issue for our current team to handle. With Giovanni defeated, we find ourselves in the eerie Pokemon Tower where once again we run into Team Rocket and you get the drill. But on another note, something that I found really interesting was that on the 4th floor, you can find a static level 50 Gengar encounter in the bottom right hand corner of the room.
I'm surprised there's actually not an encounter to find Haunter. Or like a static encounter. So you know how there was a static encounter to get Pidgeotto? I'm surprised they didn't do that for like Primeape or Haunter. I'm just surprised they didn't do that is all.
12 seconds later.
Oh. Wait a minute. They did do that. Yo, that's pretty fucking sick. Just as I was making the comment about it, I see it in the corner there. Yo, that is fucking cool. It does kind of look like a Gengar though. But I'm pretty sure it's a Haunter. Because, well. Wait. It's just straight up a Gengar? Wait, what the f? Well, would you look at that? It's a Gengar. I don't think I should be fighting this. So I'm just a bit on the confused side. What do I do with this newfound information? Destiny Bond. What the f?
Now I know in the episode Tower of Terror respectively, there was a Ghastly, Haunter, and a Gengar there, but I still don't really fully understand why this Gengar is in the corner of the tower, just like there, standing there. I did try an attempt at catching it, and well, let's just say it went how you think it would go. It's all good though, as right after that miserable attempt, we run into our next temporary team member, Haunter. If you never watched the show before, or just don't remember, Ash and friends visit the Pokemon Tower in search of a ghost-type Pokemon after he loses his first battle with Sabrina. Okay, seriously though, what the f was that? But before we can even have our first battle with Sabrina, we have to deal with Team Rocket once again in Fuchsia City at the Silphco building. You know, I probably should have dealt with this before Lavender Town, but I wanted to get Haunter beforehand so he could get some XP before taking on Sabrina. It totally wasn't because I forgot about Silphco until I went back to Fuchsia to take on the gym and saw there was Team Rocket Grunt blocking the entrance. So, after putting the ghosts in the Pokemon Tower to rest and dealing with Jesse, James, and Meowth, again, we make our way back to the Silphco building where we run into Gary and he challenges us to another battle. We were a bit under level for this one, but after a couple attempts, we managed to take him down and move on to Giovanni. Compared to the rival fight, this one is a bit easier, although we did run into a few problems with his Persian. With Team Rocket fully dealt with and out of the way, we can finally take on Sabrina. And just as I thought the game was starting to put some sort of pity on me, we run into even more problems. For some Arceus forsaken reason that I can only dream of understanding, Sabrina's first Pokemon is a Magmar. More specifically though, Blaine's level 55 Magmar. The gym leader that only uses psychic types brings a mono fire type that, mind you, is a higher level than her supposedly signature and strongest Pokemon, Alakazam, as her starting Pokemon. This would normally be the part where I go into a large tangent and start ranting about how annoying this battle is, but for some reason that still leaves me absolutely dumbfounded. This Magmar seems to only know Pound, or at least that's what it seems like, because even when I put it against my Haunter, it will only try to use Pound against it. Clearly this Magmar is a bug, and while I'm pretty sure it's not even supposed to be here in the first place, this isn't the last we've seen of this Magmar. Anyways, this guy isn't the main threat here, you know the drill. Like I said earlier, her strongest Pokemon is her Alakazam, whose speed stat absolutely obliterates every single one of my Mons at this point in our journey. I started by confusing the Magmar and then setting up a substitute because, well, at this point I didn't know that this Magmar's moveset was apparently just Pound, so I was still a bit fearful of what kind of moves it could have used. Next, I begin to raise my evasiveness up while Magmar is confused and continues to try to use Pound against my Haunter. Afterwards, I begin the process of sweeping the rest of her team with Shadow Ball, and after her Alakazam misses a Psychic, we're able to take down Sabrina and receive our 5th gym badge. It's a bittersweet victory though, as we now have to say bye to another one of our team members, this time being Haunter. He wasn't with us for long, but he was the main reason that we were able to beat Sabrina with little to no issues, and even helped a bit with Team Rocket. A moment of silence for another member who left our party far too soon. Anyways, time to bring back an old team member now that Haunter has left our party. Welcome back, Primeape. With Primeape back in our party and with this newfound downtime, we decide to enter the P1 Grand Prix, which is basically a fighting tournament for fighting Pokemon. Apparently it's the #1 Pokemon Grand Prix? I don't know. Anyways, Primeape is basically able to 1v9 the whole tournament, and now he's basically caught up in levels to our whole team, and I can honestly safely say he's now the strongest member of our team, by far. So Ash does the only sensible thing any trainer would do in his position, which is leave Primeape with someone who he only just met that same day to get even more quote-unquote training. Look, I get why we let Butterfree and even Haunter go, but I seriously don't understand this one at all. This is one of my least favorite moments in the whole anime, and this is probably by far the dumbest decision Ash has made so far in my opinion. But it is what it is, we can't dwell too long over what's been done. We still have 4 more gyms to fight and the Elite Four to take on, so we might as well wait. Now that I think about it, what's this video's current runtime? Oh, it's already past the 30-minute mark? We'll pick things up in the next video, which will be up next week, I promise. But until then, I hope you enjoyed part 1 to this Pokemon challenge. And you can know when part 2 drops by clicking the subscribe button and the little bell notification, or you're in the future and just want to stay up to date on when my next upload is. Also, make sure to leave a like and comment if you enjoyed this video. Also to help bless this video by the almighty YouTube algorithm. And follow my other socials down below if you're interested. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.